Gideon.
What up, homie?
What is going on? What's going down?
Not shit, bro. Eating lunch.
Oh, lunch at 3 p.m. Well, yeah, that makes sense. If you start work later, I suppose. All right. So, Justinian, you're the one who proposed that we do a show. So, do you want to explain like the lowdown or what? Or do you want me to?
Um, I want to hear your summary of events because you said you had already chosen a side. I'm kind of not on a side right now, so I don't know what's going on.
Okay, got it. So, um, this started last night in Ron, as many things usually do, such as lots of arguments and stuff. Um, the birth of my first child is thanks to events that started in Ron, and
What?
Spanky was on at like 1 a.m. or so, and was like, he posted some of the logs. Actually, no, I think he posted all of them, all three images, and Spanky said that um, Borg was a cheater and that he hacked all this money. And I joked and said, "Oh, I can't believe Borg spawned in 150 biggies and didn't even give me one." And Spanky kept on, and I I've seen Spanky be real serious before. So what I thought was what I thought was first a bit, I actually couldn't tell if he was serious or not. And he DM'd me and said, "No, actually, I'm really serious." And then he showed me some more stuff, I think. And so I told him, "Okay, so that's interesting." About 5 hours ago or so, Mars made a thread in which she further discusses things, and that's at about 2 pages now. So this is something that is going on, and um, so what the logs show is a couple things. It shows Borg saying that he spawned in 150 billion and that he's framing MPO for it, which okay. Um, but then what happened is, hold on, let me actually look at the logs for first off, because I'm going off memory and I don't think I've seen them all. So yeah, it's Borg saying that, and then the logs now show that Borg has deleted those messages. And so the question, okay, so I don't understand the significance of Borg saying he spawned in 150 billion and then frame MPO. Because first off, MPO wasn't, there was no disciplinary action towards MPO over like a mysterious 150 billion. MPO got in trouble because of Guinea Pig Whaling Corporation. So when he says he framed MPO, either I'm missing something or they never got in trouble for it and nothing ever came of it to begin with. But where to me things get interesting is Borg did delete that message. Why would he delete it? That seems very suspicious to me. In law, in the practice of law in real life, there's this thing called consciousness of guilt, in which you do something and a prosecutor will allege this action you took after the crime shows that you knew you were guilty. That could be something like fleeing the scene of a crime, going into hiding, stuff like that, making false statements. And so to me, you can, unless I am unless I am ignorant of something, like that does show some consciousness of guilt, and I find that interesting. That alone is not enough for me to say Borg is a cheater, especially because I'm not even sure if anything actually happened to begin with. He says he spawned in 150 billion. That's a lot of fucking money, and I don't think that would go unnoticed. So I am not convinced Borg did anything wrong, but I do find it suspicious that he deleted those messages. That is very interesting.
So I'm not
Go
only
on, Justinian.
concerned I'm not only concerned with Borg's culpability of potentially utilizing an exploit to get somebody else in trouble. That honestly, NPO deserved it if that happened. Fuck NPO. But my bigger issue was throughout this entire affair, the last month or two, it if you listen to Spanky, Borg has utilized Locutus to, and I'm not fully, this is why I wanted Spanky and Mars and everybody to join to give their commentation. From my understanding, Borg is using Locutus to infiltrate their Discord server and disrupt roles and de-roll people, such as government, and basically take over Space Invaders' Discord server. I have no idea if that's true or not. I don't know how that would work without Locutus being the server owner. But I do know Locutus has admin access on a lot of Discord servers. So I think that might feed into it. So it kind of brings up the question of there's a lot of accusations flying around right now. Borg using Locutus for this, Borg using Locutus for that. I use Locutus in my own alliance for banking stuff, just to keep track of things because I'm lazy. But it kind of it's starting to bring up the question. There's been a lot of, you know, undertone rumblings of Locutus being not 100% a free, available, trustworthy bot. And as stuff like this happens, it kind of brings into question like how trustworthy is Locutus. Again, it's still in my server, but it kind of brings up that question in my mind of like, you don't want disruption of service, you don't want anything crazy to happen in your server. And there are other bots available like Rift and stuff like that. So it's kind of bringing me to the point. I'm not anti-Borg or pro Spanky or whatever here, but it's kind of bringing me to the point where it's like, I don't know if I want Locutus on my server anymore just because those little rumblings of, oh, Locutus may not be trustworthy have kind of turned into at least a small corner of the world shouting, you know what I mean? Locutus is not trustworthy. Borg pulled features on us, used it to disrupt roles on our Discord server, blah blah blah. I mean, even if Borg was, I don't know how Borg is involved with Space Invaders. I think he's like Gov at some level. So I don't know. This is why I want Spanky on here. I'm not fully understanding the context, but yeah, that thread by Mars was kind of like the nail in the coffin, in my opinion, for my personal thoughts on Locutus. You know what I mean? I want my bots to have no drama.
Yeah, and I remember. Okay, I know nothing about IT. I am very ignorant when it comes to anything regarding coding and such like that. But from what I see, it seems like to me Borg is a very, very competent and knowledgeable IT person. So if anyone could make a bot like Locutus, but also have it like discreetly be able to fuck with servers, I can see Borg being able to pull that off. Not saying that he did, just saying I can see that how it's possible. And I remember, I mean, there's always been suspicion around Locutus. I remember a couple years ago, Dennison was saying, in the same chat room that Locutus is in, don't like talk about gov stuff there. So, I think there's always been a little bit of weariness just out of prudence. Um, Now Spanky is here and he is server unmuted, so he can speak up whenever he wants.
Sorry, guys. It's been a long night. Fucking, I don't even know where to begin on this shit, to be honest with you guys. It's a wild, wild fucking 8 months if you read through all those logs. I'll just tell you that. Borg definitely said all that shit about NPO. We had a solid 30, 40-minute conversation about it. This is not something that, was just made up on the fly. This isn't some just bullshit I fucking thought up to myself or some bullshit me and Borg coordinated. This was done months ago, and Borg said this shit and then retroactively deleted it days later. If you check my screenshots and look at the timestamps, you'll notice where it says Borg hacked NPO, it says today on there. Everything after that, it's all days later, and it'll show you a date on there of November 25th. All that was taken about within a week period. Borg, realizing he fucked up by telling me that, decided to delete all of it. Somebody who is joking, somebody who is trolling, does not go out of their way days later to delete something and not let you see it. That's an irrational argument. A lot of you tried to make that argument, but it makes not a goddamn bit of fucking sense. Furthermore, the whole reason any of this is even happening, besides the fact that, Borg not only cheated, but, he's holding SI's bank hostage right now with Riddler because they believe that everything SI has created since they were leaders is theirs. That's what they earnestly believe. And they told me that it's even in the leaked screenshots and Riddler has even said this on Ron. He claimed the money's not Space Invaders, it's not anyone's, it's his and Borg's. And that's his position on their AA. That's the position on their offshore, and that's their position on the bots. It's all about what they can do to benefit themselves. And I guarantee you that they probably get a lot more out of that bot than they are letting on, guys. And
So Spanky, why did you sit on this information for so long?
because until now, I was beholden to them because they had a quid pro quo over me because they held my Alliance bank and they held the raid bots over me, which they can no longer do anymore. And because they can't do that anymore, I had no reason not to let go of that information. So I did. They had a quid pro quo the whole entire time that stopped me from leaking that. Granted, they didn't know I had that screenshot, but that is what stopped me from leaking it because they consistently held the AA bank over my head. They consistently demoted me on Discord when they disagreed with what I was doing. They consistently went behind my back with multiple government members despite claiming to respect my authority and claiming to respect the position that my members had put me in. They went behind my back and hit up multiple gov members to try and run the place. They wanted a puppet is all it boils down to, guys. And I'm not it. That's really all it comes to. And they wanted me to play puppet and I'm not doing it. So that's that.
I have also Mars has also jumped on, and I've also server unmuted him if he has anything to contribute. Or did Spanky give a good layout of things?
I'm interested to hear Mars's side.
Yeah, the whole bit that Mars brought to me and posted on those servers, I had never seen any of
Yeah, basically, I saw what
So
he was saying and posted on the forums. And afterwards, some other information came up. I also posted on the forums, and that's the extent of what I read.
Can we
I'm
just take
also
a
on
moment?
gotcha.
yeah, I'm on the street right now. Can't really
Can we
elaborate
just
on that.
can we just take a moment to reflect how Mars did not win sexiest voice of the year? What a crime.
Sounds pretty gay, bro.
So, Spanky, you mentioned Locutus. So, what's the evidence that Locutus might be a big spook? Is there any in particular?
I mean, besides the fact that, my buddy who hasn't played the game in over a month was
If
able
you're
to
trying to
promote
talk, I can't hear you.
the fact that my buddy who has not been active for 3 months, or not 3 months, for 3 weeks, all right, the fact that he hasn't been active for 3 weeks and I was able to go talk to Borg and get him to promote me to leader and then demote him is enough for me. That proves to me that anybody who works with Borg could waltz up to him and fucking do it. And they could use a bot to do it, and my buddy would never even have to log in and confirm it.
If you want my 2 cents on it, like I didn't even know about anything else except what Spanky posted the first time, like the first thing that came out about this. And what's surprising to me is the other stuff, like that Diana that came up really randomly, like that Diana guy posting that Borg did it in a totally separate context. Like that was from Mythic Chat a year, 2 years ago. Basically, whole separate situation.
Fair. Now,
Also, of course, Borg saying it. I don't know. Have you guys read the logs? Does it come up that he was joking afterwards, like days away or something? Like, is it obvious they were trolling Spanky? Or...
so apparently, Prefontaine is saying that eventually, at some point down the road, Alex will double check to make sure that this wasn't something that happened. But until then,
Alex has nothing to double check. He knows everything ever since it happened because he checked them. So I would be surprised if anything in game is surprising. Like I'm sure Alex checked everything 2 years ago or whenever this happened. So, but it ended up with him banning that NPO guy.
wait,
So
are you trying to say Alex is complicit?
not that he's complicit. I'm just
that
saying
Borg covered his trail?
Alex can't say anything new on the matter because Alex already knows whatever happened in game. Only thing that Alex could find out now is stuff from Discord, and historically he doesn't get involved with Discord. So
Gotcha. So Thalmor, we just had a big truth bomb. In case you missed it, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up? What was the truth bomb?
So we're looking at potential admin complicity here, apparently, is what Mars is saying, I think. That Alex may have known about it.
I wouldn't be surprised if Alex knew about it because, I mean, like, think about it, guys. Who are you going to ban? An AA that you hate that has tried trashing your game, or the dude that makes a bunch of bots and makes your game more profitable? I know who the fuck I'd ban as a game creator and owner. I mean, it only makes common sense. Like, fucking, it wouldn't surprise me if Alex knew.
Mars has clarified, and I thought I heard him say this, that Mars is not saying that Alex is complicit, just that he wouldn't know what to look for if he did go looking. Yeah, in game there's nothing new. So, and I wouldn't say Alex is complete. Would I don't think it's a case of Alex not wanting to go after Borg because Borg has contributed to the game so much with things like Lokitas and stuff. I would pin it on laziness before I would do that.
So I guess the big question is Locutus still safe to use for like other alliances that aren't
We can pivot to Lokitas, but now Kev wants to contribute, and I want to give him a chance to. Kev, you are server unmuted.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So
Yes.
just a couple things, just to clear this up. NPO was not banned because of $150 billion. So for those of you that aren't around or weren't around or whatever, that was not the reason they were banned. They were banned because of the guinea pig whaling corpse thing. So, that point is irrelevant. That's why, to me, at least, the point against Borg about the NPO and framing NPO, the reason why that's BS is because there's nothing to frame them on. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, that's not why they got banned. And that's revising history. But regarding the other stuff, I think there's a legitimate gripe there as far as what Spanky's talking about. And I think that's something that's worth discussing. But I just want to throw the NPO thing out there that's irrelevant. But as far as the other thing goes, I would say, as far as Alex looking into it, because you guys were talking about how the bot was used to promote Spanky up because the other person was inactive. I would say if you went through Alex to do that, Alex would just do it himself. If it was someone that went inactive and they're trying to do X, Y, and Z, he's done that in the past. So I'm guessing he would have said, hey, no harm, no foul. Like, you're just making my life easier is probably what it's going to come down to. I get the moral dilemma or whatever on principle, blah, blah, blah. And principle is important. Don't get me wrong. However, like, it's something that he's done in the past too, Alex. So just be prepared for that, I'm guessing.
Wait. Pause. Kev, you're telling me that Borg used Locutus to kick a leader out in-game and promote a different leader in-game?
I'm not saying that that's what happened. I'm saying that's what you guys said happened.
I haven't heard anything about that yet.
Wait. He promoted me in game. He did not kick the other leader. He promoted me to leader, though, which enabled me to kick the other leader. Which
How did he promote you in game?
Because he
promoted me through the bot. So the bot that signed in through the account, which my buddy owns, which has been inactive for 3 weeks, who was the Emperor. And because
there's
a
selection. Hold on. I have the answer without any kind of spin, like the actual way it is. So what it is you can, if you want, you can allow Locutus to take control of your nation or whatever. That's how, like, doing the deposits and stuff or whatever. Like, there's a select few people, and I'm guessing Canyon was one of those people that allowed Locutus to have access through there, kind of like the BK bot thing. And this was something where I know Epi got slammed on this pretty hard too, deservedly or not, or whatever. That's a debate for whoever. But so Canyon willingly did this. It was not like Locutus, this bot could go in without you doing something ahead of time. So he can't just go into anyone's nation and do this. Just so that's clear.
So I'm gonna interject here. I use Locutus for my own AA. We don't have access to these higher automated functions. Borg keeps those to a certain select few. But for certain functions, you do have to give your API key. And I think you can also choose to give your login information for certain functions, which I have done. So you're telling me that Borg's bot, he used his bot to get in and basically promote somebody, not a non-bot function is what you're telling me. He used the account information to get into the account and perform a non-bot function.
That is not what that's not exactly what I'm telling you. I don't know what happened. That's not what
I'm not trying to attack or defend Borg. I'm asking a yes or no question.
No, That's not what I'm telling you. I'm paraphrasing what people put in the chat, but I'm just trying to do so without spin.
And I'm telling you, that's how the bot operates, and there's no spin to it. You can defend your friend, Kev, and call it spin because you don't like what you're hearing, but it doesn't make
What
it
are you
any less
talking about?
true.
I didn't defend anything. I didn't state anything.
So
The only thing I'm defending
is
is
the whole night and Ron defending fucking Borg, dude. Like, knock the shit. I'm not in the mood.
okay. Well, take it
So-
easy there, Skippy. All I'm trying to say is NPO. Well, I was clarifying what happened with NPO and why that's not true is because there wasn't anything to frame them. That's not why they got banned. So I'm just clearing up that. I also stated earlier that as far as the other stuff goes, I said I think you have a legitimate gripe, and then I went from there. So I don't. Anyway, beyond that, I'm just trying to make sense of it before people start going one way or the other with it because, like, I feel like there's no like instead of trying to spin stuff, just state what it is, and it sounds like that's people were saying in the chat.
So Kev, a lot of people are responding to you saying that the ban that people are mentioning is specifically Eric, NPO's offshore banker, I think, or just banker in general. He got banned for a resource, some kind of resource or something exploit separate from the guinea pig whaling company. And that's what they're talking about. Although, again, personally, I really don't care about NPO. I'm more concerned with the security of Locutus and like the access it apparently has to anybody who uses it.
So yeah, so I would say like as far as Locutus goes with other alliances, like Space Invaders, people that work with Borg, Riddler, etc., like they know they have their control on Space Invaders, and that's been the case since it was made. And that's even when Borg helped me make Street, that was just kind of known. Like everyone knew that. People in Space Invaders knew that. We knew that. Like that he had some kind of influence in there. He had some kind of say in there, and it was important to him. Space Invaders, like kind of like a side project, etc. And I know Lori talked about that in Ron. And again, I'm not saying right or wrong or otherwise. Again, Spanky, I'm saying you have a legitimate gripe, and I think you put it pretty well as far as from what your side is. So I'm just saying, like I think it's something to take into consideration. Is that I feel like Borg and Riddler probably feel some kind of sense of ownership on Space Invaders.
I don't doubt that they feel a sense of ownership. They are the founders of the Alliance, after all, and they have held our offshore this whole time. They named the place and all of it. I'll agree with you. Of course, they have some sentiment over it. But they've been gone since July. And case in point, like, they've been gone. Like, is any old AA leader from any AA allowed to just walk back into their old AAs and seize the whole bank because they feel entitled to it? Name an AA this happened in.
I can name one. Space Invaders. Before this happened, Riddler just left the street he left the street in the middle of being in the street and just walked right back into Space Invaders. They made him leader again because things were kind of going sideways because he like basically led the thing the whole time.
At my behest. He did so at my behest to get rid of Shri. That's right. And then immediately made Canyon and myself leader in 2IC after about a month of him sitting there again.
So it's okay if you do it, but it's not okay if other people do it. If it's at your behest, then it's okay when you're not leader.
No,
but if it's at someone else's behest,
I told him he could take his money back that him and Borg put into the AA, which was about $10 billion. What they are not entitled to is the fucking other $10 billion they're trying to fucking run off with. That belongs to my members. Doesn't belong to them.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think what you're saying is fair.
And they're trying to hand me $3 billion and act like they're the good guys. But like, no, I'm not taking $3 billion when you just tried to steal 10. That's not how this is working. I want all my money back. Like this is my members' money. Like this is not theirs. My members were taxed for that shit. Inactive people who joined our alliance played with us for months and then went inactive and donated their depots out of loyalty. They didn't do that shit for Riddler and Borg. They did that shit for SI at what it was for its current leadership, which wasn't Riddler and Borg at the time.
Yeah, I would say, didn't Riddler mention, this is what Delaney just said, didn't Riddler mention that the money for the members were available? So
the money from the member depots is available. The money that the AA owned is not available. The money that my members were taxed for is not available. The money that people who went inactive and fucking left their depots behind and donated it to SI, that shit is not available. Any trading I did with the AA Bank to grow it, those funds are no longer available because Borg felt the need, because I wouldn't play puppet, to take our money. That money was never his. 10 billion of it was, and I told them, if you all go read through the fucking chats that I leaked, I told him and Riddler in there last month. This was just last month, an argument we had, and I told them and Zerg to take their fucking money back and that I wouldn't play puppet. And they told me that they would respect my decision and back me. Instead, they pulled this shit. So, like, nah, like, I'm not buying their bullshit.
So
Okay,
Borg and Riddler have your alliance bank, not the member deposits, not your personal deposits. They gave all that back.
They have returned the member deposits only of the members who have hit them up. So they still hold all the member deposits of the people who haven't been active yet, or anyone who's unaware of the situation, whatever, which is understandable. I can't expect them to just fucking magically make that appear somewhere unless they actually handed over our bank, you know, like I've requested, but they won't do that. So, you know, apparently we all have to just trust Borg to tell everyone what our depots are. But anyways, fucking not only will he not do that, but then any money that was the AA's money, which us as a government owned to make SI a better place for its members, we lost all that money, which numbered at about 20 billion. And of that 20 billion, 10 billion was the seed money that Borg and Riddler gave to the place to start.
So are you still I'm out. I haven't checked in game, so call me out of the loop if you want.
In game,
Are you still the leader of SI?
Yeah, in game I'm leader. On our Discord server, Riddler has kicked me from leadership and disabled all my roles except for IA head, so that way I could ping everybody. I had to make a new server, which is what I've spent my last 2 hours doing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think Lori said it best when Lori said just their alliance setup is a mess. Like it was just, this is the sloppy part where like the setup comes from and how it was managed and stuff. Like I think Lori made a good point there.
Decagon also asked a good question. Who's the server owner? Is it Riddler?
The server owner is Riddler, yes.
Okay, that's what I figured.
He founded the place.
Yeah, so it's the same fucking scheme they did like with 20 alliances.
And it was
like
Dryad that said it. I'm sorry, not Lori. Dryad. Dryad is very smart and wonderful and has all these good ideas.
That group, Borg and whoever else, they started like 15 alliances, including like this one, Space Invaders, is just the latest.
So I think we've hashed out a decent amount of this, but I want to go back and get everyone's thoughts on what to me is the smoking gun of all of this, which is why would Borg delete his messages saying that? That is the key piece of evidence that paints Borg in a bad light to me.
Not to cut you off, Thalmor, but not only did he delete his messages, but then today, after I added Mindsome, Jaden, and Flavy to the group, he deleted all of his messages a second fucking time. Everything he had ever said in the group chat. Like, if motherfucker has nothing to hide, why are you purging everything?
To be fair, if I was in a group chat with Jaden, I would be spam deleting everything too.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's not important. All the rest of the stuff he's talked about in there is not our business, you know.
So the idea is that like he was deleting stuff because of like high gov, in character, OPSEC, and that deleting those messages was just a casualty of doing that. That's the idea.
I'm lost on the question. I need you to ask that a little bit. better.
Basically, he's asking, is it really Borg's smoking gun, or is it just standard operating procedure considering the people involved?
Now, why would he delete it when it was just me in there? And then when I tried to expose the proof, and Riddler said he had nothing to hide, and he let everything stay there. So did Zurg.
Well,
Both of them, they said fuck it. But
let
why
me
would
ask the
Borg?
timeline. When were those messages? You said those messages were sent in November, right?
Correct. November 25th.
November of this past year, 2021.
Yep.
When did those messages get deleted that you noticed?
I noticed about 3 to 4 days after.
So
Hold
he
on,
deleted
guys,
them in November as well.
Yes, he deleted them in November, but give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, guys.
So anybody in the know, was the DPE SI thing going on and at the end of November? I feel like it's been going on a while, but I don't know how long. Because that's my only other thought is like Borg deleted them because of drama with whoever was in the group chat at the time. And he knew that that was something that could be leaked out of context.
What was for ignorant people like me? What was the DPE SI thing?
I don't remember what the cause of it was, but it was basically a Space Invaders mass raid, and it's been going on for at least a month or two. Remember, we tried to I don't know if you were here or not. Yeah, we tried to white piece it out live on the radio, but Jaden walked it back last second. We could have avoided this whole thing, Jaden, if only. So yeah.
Peace prevails.
Basically, it's torn the House of Borg in two. Spanky said he's back into unmute.
All right, Spanky, what you got?
So what was I getting questioned on before I hopped on the phone? I apologize to whoever was questioning.
When did your DPE war start?
The DPE war started technically on December 25th when they hit us. We countered them immediately. They countered counters. Borg hit Canyon up and me and told us about him fucking up. I told him that because it was a DPE issue, because he acted for DPE, that DPE needed to hit us up and fucking take care of it, which is not unreasonable. Borg is not a foreign diplomat. Fucking. Upon doing that, they refused to deal with me and didn't want to fucking make peace. So we hit them on January 1st, en masse, instead of with just a few counters. And yeah, I mean, like, we've been at war since. And then halfway through that war, my buddy retired from Emperor. I took over. I tried making peace with Jaden. Me and him argued. Didn't go very well, as everyone saw. You know, I don't know really what else to say about that. Like,
so Spanky, I'm going to, geez, I'm going to shine the spotlight onto you a little bit now. So, when did you know about Borg saying he spawned in 150 billion and tried to frame MPO for it? When did you notice that?
November 25th when it happened.
So,
same day I took the
why are
screenshot.
you just bringing it up now?
Same day I took the screenshot. I answered this earlier already, but I'll go ahead and answer it again. It's cool. Fucking essentially, they had quid pro quo on me. I was not able to leak it because they were holding the bots and the AA bank over my head. And at any point, if I would have leaked that stuff, they would have immediately fucking taken all of that from SI. But because
Plus, I don't think Spanking really needs to explain himself on this.
But no. But on top of that, because this morning, as I leaked, they turned around and took the bots and SI's bank anyways, with no real reason, might I add. I decided to leak it because I had no reason to be fearful of them anymore. They had no more hold over me. They couldn't hurt my members anymore than they already have. They've taken our bank and trashed our good name. That's the worst damage you could do, and they've already done it. So it's, you know, it is what it is, and they
Do you
chose
have
to do that.
documentation
So
of how much was taken and all that crap?
do what?
Do you have documentation
Of what?
your? Sorry, my mic's cutting in and out. The stuff that was taken from your bank. Alex has refunded stuff before that was removed through ill-gotten gains and through tampering and et cetera, et cetera. There is a possibility it can be returned, so don't be afraid to out them
Our
if you're going to lose something in game.
AA bank was about $20 billion. This morning, it was $20 billion in AA depots and $20 billion in member depots, roughly, give or take a few $100,000. So roughly, we had about $40 billion in our bank. Granted, they did say they would return the member depots. They even returned my depot. So, like, don't get me wrong. I do appreciate Borg and them for at least upholding their word there. They did return my members who have asked their deposits. My concern is the members who have not asked, because really they shouldn't need to ask, like, just to be clear, but whatever. But my concern is the members who haven't asked because they're inactive. And I mean, this is sort of a time sensitive thing. Like, I'm going to be out of their Discord server in a few days and in my own. Like, we already have ours set up now, the new one. And so, like, you know, they're all going to get fucking left in the dust if they're inactive. And all those guys are going to lose all their money because they were inactive a day or two because Borg and Riddler wanted to be assets. And I think that's incredibly unfair. I think it's absolutely bullshit and ridiculous that two guys who claim to care for an AA and love it would do that to its members and government.
Well, it's an entirely different issue than actually cheating. How people behave in character, in game, screw people over and backstab people in game doesn't really matter in terms of moderation unless it violates.
Yeah, there's like 5
I
different
mean,
situations
if you're
being debated
I-
all at once.
if you're
So
asking
there's
about
definitely
whether or not
separation between them.
moderation should be taken because they stole our bank, I'm not really sure because, like, we trusted them with our offshore. They chose to run off with it. Technically speaking, like, you know, I don't know what game rules that is or anything, but I don't assume that's against game rules. I think it's immoral, but I don't think it's against game rules. Now, if it is against game rules, by all means, I would love if you return the deposit, or not the deposits, the
What I'm
Alliance Bank
saying
of
is
my
that
AA.
if you coming clear about cheating is, and their reaction is withholding money that they're holding onto in game. In the past, Alex has righted those kinds of wrongs. Like, so
I'm,
you being clean about
I mean,
someone cheating,
his cheating doesn't have anything to do with him holding our money. These are two separate events.
but you said the reason you didn't come out was because they had your shit, basically.
Right.
So if that was the thing withholding you from coming forward, and then you come forward and then they steal your shit, arguably you have outed a cheater and you shouldn't be punished for in-game for that sort of thing. Even though you should always only use YAR as your offshore bank.
Ooh.
That is the official stance of the PNW moderation crew.
Literally.
Also,
I mean,
Spanky,
is nobody else?
I understand being concerned about, you know, the bank and the alliance and stuff, but Alex could, you know, could snap his fingers and restore all that. Meanwhile, you know, I mean, I even think the game rules state, although its enforcement is dubious, that like you need to report rule breaking as soon as you can. So, and I'm not trying to jump on you, but you're making some big claims here, and people who make big claims need to be without blemish themselves, if that
I
makes
mean,
sense.
I never said I was perfect. I never claimed that my shit didn't stink. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like I came up here and fucking acted like I was the do-gooder. I just said I wanted the fucking AA money back that was deserved by my members. That's it. Fucking that, and I called Borg out on his bullshit for telling
Also,
me that he's trying to
Froley,
cover it up.
Froley from NPO is saying that their entire bank was automated, and when he was deleted, Eric didn't take it over or any banking department. He just held the cash while they worked out what they were going to do regarding PNW. Basically, one morning he woke up having been deleted for receiving and returning cash to Borg proxy. I guess that's NPO stance on.
All right. I think that might be about everything. Justinian, what do you think?
I mean, I'm still kind of stuck on. I mean, Azazel made a good point. If you give somebody your keys and login information and stuff, you are handing them the keys to the castle, so to speak. But at the same time, like Borg has produced this bot, arguably endorsed by Alex. It's on the PNW main server. I mean, like it's a free bot that has been offered to every single person in game, and it's a little
Hasn't
worrying
always
that
been free though.
yeah, it's a little worrying that it's being utilized. Like once he takes that first step to log into somebody else's nation, even to do something as innocuous as, oh, I just bumped the inactive leader down to give leadership to the second in command or whatever. You know what I mean? Something quote unquote Alex definitely would have done himself. I still feel like that should have gone through Alex or an in-game moderator and not
But that's
been utilized through a bot.
there's actually separate issues. Like there's the bot issue that's separate from Borg saying he spawned billions and other people saying that as well. Like people in his camp, NPO side, himself. If that's
Yeah,
true,
both
I mean,
issues are
that's
being
one
brought up for
issue. The
moderation.
bot issue is another issue. Like
It all
that's
ties in though,
that's
is what I'm saying.
subjective. I mean, you and me don't like the bot. I can say why I don't like the bot. A lot of people do, though. I think it's harmful for the game, and the game kind of went to shit when that bot came up. Like at least our part of the game, ARG and piracy and whatnot. Not to mention they started 15 alliances on the back of that bot. Always the same shit. Like the people in that alliance would get all their raids automated, and they would brag about how they're overperforming everyone else, even though us older players wouldn't use the bot for raiding because that's just how it is. And they started like how many? The first one they wanted to associate themselves with ARG. It was Bombardiers. I don't know. That Diana guy who has the name of a girl is actually a dude. Like from memory, he started 10 alliances, including this is just the latest. All offshoots of E4, Aero 404, and all based on this fucking bot. So, but that's separate issue from the ban issue and separate issue from the whole SI situation.
I don't know, man. I guess not to dig a hole with anybody else, but the SI drama has been going on for 2 months, but Borg abusing Locutus's privileges, I feel like is the headline here, but I don't know.
Yeah, and no, I like the whole bot thing is subjective. I don't like it, you don't like it, but a lot of people do. So
Well,
I
it's
don't
not
know.
that they're
I
using the
think it's
bot.
just, but that's
I
I don't
I
think
don't
that's
care that they have the
the point
bot. I
here.
don't care it's
I think
automated.
the fact that he basically said he spawned the money, the fact that one of his guys in one context in Mythic chat said he spawned the money. Then another of his guys in a separate context, like Spanky, said copy pasting that, like leaking their chat with him saying he spawned the money, plus NPO saying he was involved and they think he spawned the money despite them getting banned for it. Like you can believe that or not, but I think I see this Froley guy says that even today, like 2 years after he got banned. So I don't know. I think that's the bigger scandal, that it's separate occasions in separate instances, and they all point to the same guy. And in the end, Alex congratulates him for fixing the issue, and everyone is saying he came up with the exploit in the first place. So.
What was Pre gonna say? Pre was about to say something.
Fuck if I remember. That was like 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, that's true. You are kind of like a squirrel, I guess, huh?
Nerf Raiders. Nerf Raiders.
I think you were about to say something on the bot, weren't you?
Yeah, Pri is the other half of what's wrong with trading. Like half of it is Borg, half of it is.
Hey, I did my part. I made a thread asking for buffs for rating, and I got city score lowered some.
Was it about? Hey, Pri, was it about moving
Senpai.
people in game, like from one tier of leadership to another?
Yeah, there's. I mean, like Mars was saying, there's two issues at hand, and I brought both of them up in the moderation.
I think you got cut off there.
So
you
yeah,
brought both of them up.
Yeah, they're both up in a moderation thread on a private Discord. I think we Rush emailed Alex to give him a more direct heads up about what's going on. So hopefully he'll be able to review some of that sooner rather than later, and maybe we can take the bot offline in some way until we figure out what's going on, etc., etc. But they are two different issues, and the NPO thing, I mean, was so long ago, obviously it matters, but the impact now, the more pressing issue is there a problem with player-owned bots being a vital part of the game.
That kind of leads me into the point I was going to make towards the end of this show. Locutus and other bots that have been kind of spawned off of the idea of Locutus, bots have become so ingrained in this game for how long has Locutus been around? Like 2 years now? 3, 2, 3, 1, somewhere in there. Over a year at least. And I guess since you're here, I'm going to ask you this question, Pri. Is Alex looking at any kind of potential integration, maybe not with Locutus exactly, but like similar functionality to add into the actual game itself, rather than letting all these bots do it third party? I think that would solve a ton of issues, is like adding recruitment scripts, you know what I mean? Quote unquote, the recruitment script functionality into the actual game, adding banking systems.
The short answer is no.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely more work that can be done. I'm sorry, Prefontaine, go on.
Yeah, the short answer is no. The long answer is it's not a bad idea. Alex has done that in the past on a small scale. If you go back to Finey with the interactive map that we can drag and pull, that was something that Finey made for us to use in a way, and it got adapted fully into the game. Now, those sort of functionalities could be brought in, and then there's the talk of limiting them, like with the API, because you don't want too many requests going on that constantly slow down the server, etc., etc. But there is something to be said for adding proper functionalities fully into the game that the bot does, and if we want that to be a thing.
All right. I don't know, guys. I think we've pretty much talked all of the angles here to death. Am I missing something? Is there any other piece of any of these three topics here we need to go over? Anything else that listeners might want us to hash out?
So, someone, or what was the thing that Riddler put? Riddler put a screenshot.
Good Lord, Kev, roll your window up.
Sorry, Riddler put a screenshot, didn't he, Thelmore?
I missed it. Riddler needs to post it again.
It was the thing about Spanky saying he was going to buy a leadership position in another alliance and kill SI, I think. And Riddler was saying that was why Spanky's roles got revoked.
That's false. That was said in DM between my 2IC and me, first of all. Second, not only was that said in a DM after they removed my roles, which is why that was said, by the way, but not only did they fucking do that after the roles were removed, but fucking these chuckle fucks fucking took our bank, which I was about to fucking distribute amongst our members and then use to fucking merge us into an AA. Because fucking we don't have any members anymore. We don't have a lot of fucking people that want to raid. We don't fucking have any of that anymore. And so the only thing we have is what the fucking AA had built up over the months. And I was going to retire to farming with it along with the rest of my dudes and go merge into an AA. Damn straight. Any collapsing alliance would have done it. So fucking slander it and twist it any fucking way you want.
I, for one, think Spanky brought a very good thing back, and he called them ass hats, and I feel like that insult has not been used in far too long, and I feel like we should call other people ass hats more. It's something that used to be said in CN all the time, and I miss it. Hashtag.
Well, you're a fucking.
All right. I think that's that. There's the last thing to go over, and it's these logs. I don't know how I missed these, but I'm gonna read them out real quick. Spanky says, "Oh God, what do you do? LOL. Now I gotta hear this. Borg did something as dumb as me. I feel honored." Borg says, "Promise not to tell anyone." Spanky says, "A fucking course, baby." And then Borg says, "Okay, I am Rock's baby mama. He came in my row bussy. The child is Jane's Dartin." Spanky says, "You absolute savage, Lamo. Bruh, you never got caught." Well, he never got caught, but a test will turn up the
screenshot.
Yeah, I the most recent screenshot in the chat is hold on, I can repost it here. Samuel posted it earlier, but I missed it.
Yeah, that's a
it got pointed out to me. I don't know. I think this is even more real too. I think this is real on a metaphysical, spiritual level. But I digress. So what's the takeaway here? Yes, DNN is responsible for that. That row bussy is fire, ladies and gentlemen. But anyways, so what are the takeaways here? The takeaway is Borg is still a sussy baka. Spanky might have questionable motives for bringing up the information, and Lokitas might be compromised, and you might be fucked. So that's the takeaway from the show. I think we've talked about everything to death. This will only be resolved by Alex sitting down for 2 hours and doing a full investigation. Will he do it? Probably not. Is Borg going to get banned? Probably not. Is Spanky going to get banned? No. I think that's that. Any final things to go over before we close out the show?
How you doing, Tom?
I have one thing. So, what do you call an iguana having a hard time using its camouflage?
What do you call that, Kev?
An asshat?
An iguana with erectile dysfunction.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so in light of these revelations with Borg, I'm doing a change up, not the baseball profile picture man. I'm doing a change up with the High Court of Thalmoria. The current case was Thalmoria versus Church of Adam on the allegations that Church of Adam took money from Alpha, knowing that Alpha was, a big cheating alliance full of multis. That case is being thrown out because the prosecutors have dragged their feet too long with it. Instead, I'm throwing that case out and I'm opening up Thalmoria versus Borg. Or maybe Thalmoria versus Spanky. I guess we'll figure that out come Friday. So if you want to prosecute Borg or you want to prosecute Spanky, then be figuring out what you want to do and come here Friday, and we'll hash that out early in the show Friday evening. This has been recorded, possibly. This is being recorded. Yes, Luna, that's fine.
Borg should join too.
Borg should join too. Say again?
I said chameleon, not iguana.
I said Borg should join as well.
Yeah, certainly. And that's a great thing because the trial of Taith. Well, I guess Greybird kind of got involved with that in defending Taith, and he was a part of Taith. But with the trial of Jazz, it was hard to get anyone. It was, Jazz didn't care; he was long gone, and I don't think Church of Adam cares either. But Borg listens. He's part of the server, so he might, contribute to his defense and stuff. So that could be interesting. But there you go. So that is that.
And for the record, I don't think Borg is a bad guy or anything. I think he just likes to overplay the game, like get ahead.
Borg will contribute to his trial as long as his bot can be his lawyer.
And I'm not convinced Borg did anything wrong either. Like I said, I think the only certainty that can be brought would be through Alex and him doing not like a full investigation, because I don't think anything here warrants it, but just going through things for sitting down seriously for a length of time, a short length of time, and going through things. That's the only way there would be any definite answers to this. All right, that's it. Come here Friday when we begin organizing the trial of Borg. That trial will probably be next week, probably on the 18th or the Saturday after or the Thursday before. That is that. Y'all have a good one. Show up Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard for Thalmor Radio. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.